This is What is Wheel of Jeopardy's Target Increment Demo. The project, Wheel of Jeopardy, is now complete. In this presentation, we will show you goals we met, an in-depth demo of the product, and there will be a special message at the end.
The team would like to provide a retrospective of the progress made since the start of the project. We began by laying out organizational foundations of both the project and the team itself, which provided excellent guidance in times of unsurety. We then fleshed out the project's details, synthesizing requirements, goals, risks, and technical specifications to further the vision of the stakeholders. As we incremented the product through the skeletal and minimal stages, we also produced detailed design documentation, all while keeping the previous deliverables in mind and updating them as needed. And finally, we are brought to today, where we present to you the finished product exactly on schedule, having not fallen short of a single deadline along the way.
This slide displays the features of the 4 increments in our project plan as been updated and/or demonstrated to date. During the skeletal and minimal increment demonstrations, we have provided a work product that contains all the features expected within our project plan for the respective increments. That includes a multi-threaded client-server type of application with a functional graphical user interface which allows a minimum number of players to play the game What is Wheel of Jeopardy? We have previously shown features such as player enrollment, win conditions, and the ability to play to completion in a single game. For the target increment, we will show that we have met all criteria outlined in the project plan for the target features. This includes a fully graphical user interface enabled game with a spin wheel, game board, a counter to display the spins remaining, the score, and the amount of free tokens. In addition, the interface will display the number of spins remaining, the current active players, as well as the current round. We have also added many of the dream features outlined in the project plan. For example, we have score tracking enabled, user-defined number of players, animations for the spin wheel and other multimedia such as audio prompts after answering a question or at the end of a round. Also, users can choose to edit questions for the various rounds if they are inclined to do so. These and other additional game features and deliverables will be presented in the video demonstration ahead.
We will now demonstrate the Wheel of Jeopardy application delivered for the target increment. For this final increment of capability, our team successfully implemented all of the features required by the stakeholders. To demonstrate the final product, we will play a game of Wheel of Jeopardy between 4 players. The Wheel of Jeopardy game includes 2 different types of applications, a single server application and multiple client applications. The server and client applications communicate by sending each other messages over a socket connection using TCP/IP protocol. To ensure both applications provide a fast response time to the user, we have implemented them as multi-threaded applications, with a separate thread managing the client-server connection, the animations, the game logic, or the sound effects and music. To begin a game of Wheel of Jeopardy, I will start the server application. The user can select to start a new game from the main menu. To begin a new game, the user is prompted to enter the number of players. Once the user has entered the number of players, a server is started. The server will listen for new client connections to accept and start the game once the desired number of players have connected. Here is the client application. The player is prompted to enter their name. A wait screen is displayed until all other players have connected. Once all players have connected, the server starts the game by broadcasting the game data to each connected client. For the target increment, we have implemented a graphical user interface. In the top left, we have an animated spinning wheel. The wheel contains the following 18 sectors, randomly distributed. 2 sectors for each of the 6 categories on the Jeopardy board, 1 lose turn sector, 1 free turn sector, 1 bankrupt sector, 1 player's choice sector, 1 opponent's choice sector, and 1 spin again sector. In the game, the players take turns spinning the wheel and doing whatever the sector instructs them to. The button to spin the wheel is only enabled when it is the current player's turn. In the top right, we have a Jeopardy board displaying the categories and questions for the current round. The Jeopardy board contains 6 categories, each containing 5 questions. In the bottom left, we have a player info panel. The player info panel displays the stats for each player, including their name, score, and free turn tokens. In the bottom right, we have a round info panel. The round info panel displays the current player turn, the number of spins remaining in the round, and the current round number. Since it is currently player 1's turn, we will switch to the client window for player 1. The spin wheel button is enabled, so player 1 can take their turn to start the game. The wheel has landed on a spin again sector, so the player is instructed to spin the wheel again. The round info panel is updated with the number of spins remaining in the round. The wheel has landed on a category sector, so the player must answer the next question in that category. The questions are answered in order of increasing point value. The next question to be answered will start flashing. When the player selects the question text and 3 possible multiple choice answers are displayed. The player can select an answer and submit. Since the player answered the question correctly, they are awarded the corresponding points and get to spin again. The player info panel is updated with the player's new score. The wheel has landed on a free turn sector, so the player is awarded 1 free turn token. The player info panel is updated with the player's number of free turn tokens, and the player gets to spin again. The wheel has landed on a bankrupt sector, so the player loses all of their points for the current round. The player info panel is updated with the player's new score. After spinning bankrupt, player 1's turn ends and the game switches to player 2's turn. The round info panel is updated to display the current player's turn. Switching to the client window for player 2, we see that the spin button is now enabled, and the player can spin the wheel to take their turn. The wheel has landed on a category sector, so player 2 will answer the next question in that category. Since the player answered the question incorrectly, the corresponding points are subtracted from the player's score, and their turn ends. The player info panel is updated with the player's new score. Since player 2's score was already at $0, their score is now negative. The wheel has landed on a player's choice sector, so the player gets to choose which category to answer next. The available categories will start flashing, and the player can select one. In Wheel of Jeopardy, there are 2 rounds. In each round, there is a maximum of 50 spins of the wheel. The players will continue taking turns spinning the wheel until the round is over. A round ends when either all questions on the Jeopardy board have been answered, or if there are no more spins remaining. If a player has a free turn token and they answer a question incorrectly, they can redeem the token and spin the wheel again. The wheel has landed on an opponent's choice sector, so the player's opponents will get to choose the next category. Switching to the client window for an opponent, we see that the opponent is prompted to select a category. When the opponent selects a category, the next question in that category will start flashing for the current player. When the wheel lands on a category sector and all questions in that category have already been answered, the player is instructed to spin again. The wheel has landed on a lose turn sector, so the player is forced to end their turn. If the player had a free turn token, they would have been prompted to redeem one to spin the wheel again. Since all 50 spins have been used, round 1 ends and round 2 begins. In round 2, a new set of categories and questions are loaded in the Jeopardy board. The point values for each question are doubled from the first round. Again, the players continue to take turns spinning the wheel until all questions have been answered or no spins remain. When round 2 is complete, the game is over. At the end of the game, the scores for rounds 1 and 2 are added together, and the player with the largest total score is declared the winner. The rank of each player is also displayed. We have also provided an option for the user to edit the set of categories, questions, and answers. Using the server application, the user can select to edit questions from the main menu. The user can choose to edit round 1, edit round 2, or restore the default categories, questions, and answers that come with the game. In the Edit Round screen, the current set of questions for the corresponding round are displayed. The categories are listed in the top row, and the questions for each category are listed in the same column as the category. The user can click on any category, question, or answer to edit the text. When the user has finished customizing the data, they can save their changes. The updated categories, questions, and answers will be used in the next Wheel of Jeopardy game. Choosing to restore the default categories, questions, and answers will overwrite any custom data that the user had previously saved. That concludes the demonstration of the Wheel of Jeopardy application delivered for the target increment.
We're very proud of what we put together. So proud indeed, we reached out to Alex direct to ask him what he thought.
Wheel of Jeopardy. Interesting.
Interesting indeed, Alex. Interesting indeed. Well, there you have it. We are What is Wheel of Jeopardy? And we hope you enjoy our game, Wheel of Jeopardy.